Have you ever told yourself that you just need to be alone right now, but you found yourself isolating yourself and you couldn't determine whether you were isolating yourself or you were trying to find a peace in solitude? Well, we're going to get more into that on this episode.
And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Therapeutic Talks, where we're going to talk about isolation. Is it healing you or is it hurting you? So, but before we dive into it, we got, the co-host of the show, we got the leading lady of the show, and we got a special guest. How about you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Kylie.
Okay, so let me start out by asking you, is solitude something that you've chosen or is it more so a habit?
In terms of myself or
Yeah.
just generally
In
speaking?
terms of yourself, like, have you chose to isolate yourself usually, or is it more so something that you've fallen into and now you're noticing that it's a habit to go to?
I would say it's definitely, at first, from the start, it's become like a choice, but eventually it's something that you've become so comfortable with that it just turns into a habit, which isn't really a good thing. But that's what happens when you keep practicing like the same things over and over again.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. Journey?
I would say I think it's a choice for me. I think we know that after so many episodes of talking with me. I think it's a choice at this point.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it could be a good or bad thing, depending on how often you practice it and how you allow things to consume you. But it's definitely a choice for me. What would you say for you?
It became a habit. At first, I didn't really notice it. And then after, certain things may happen in my life, I chose to, kind of just shell up and go by myself. And I didn't even notice it till maybe a year after me fully just like isolate myself after, I don't feel comfortable in the situation or whatever it may be. Maybe I need some growth in my life. I go isolate and I sit down. But that kind of like segues me to the next question is, do you guys feel like you isolate yourself to grow, or is it because you're hiding something or hiding from something?
I would say it's definitely more so as taking a break from things,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where isolation usually stems from, even if it's not necessarily a positive thing. I know me personally, it's to take breaks or it's to just have time for myself.
Yeah.
So self.
Because, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. You will go more?
Am I talking about if it's like a negative thing? Because I do think it's a negative thing.
Talk about that then. Like, if it's a
Alright.
negative, tell me, how is it a negative?
Oh, well, it's research has proven that you can't stay happy. It's like impossible to stay happy if you choose to isolate yourself. You can't live a life like that. And
Yeah.
people who isolate themselves juxtaposed to someone who's surrounded by a healthy group of people,
Mm-hmm.
the latter will always just be more happier. That's just proven. And humans, we're a very like social species. So we're just made, or we're supposed to be surrounded by people. That's just how we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I definitely isolate myself when it's time for me to grow. And then also I isolate myself when I'm going through stuff, which is not a good thing because then I hide. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do both. Like I do both. And I know when to call myself out, like, girl, come out of hiding, because I'm gonna go right to her and I'm gonna be like, Kylie, what's going on? Like, But normally I just isolate myself when it's time for growth. And it is kind of like me hiding myself from the world because I don't see myself as presentable. So definitely that. I definitely think, again, like, I feel like I know that we're supposed to be social and stuff like that. And I was just listening to an interview where they were saying, like, you want to get out there and you do want to have these conversations. If you're used to being isolated,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do the opposite. So, it's definitely it's a process. It's a process. Don't rush yourself into it. What would you say for yourself?
I would say that I don't know, man. Like, I do feel like growth can come from isolation, but
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm really sitting here talking to you guys about it, like, what real growth can come from isolation? Like what really grows in isolation? Maybe it's, I don't know, trying to hone in on a certain skill or craft or something. But that's something I want to ask y'all is like, is growth something that you feel like can really come from isolation, or is it the fact that you need to be away from certain people and maybe those people need to just be cut out your life altogether?
Mm.
I would say being away from people in general, because isolation is such a strong word,
Mm-hmm.
and isolation has been proven to have actually more negative effects than positive, like mentally
Yeah.
and physically. If you stay in isolation for too long, that's cognitive decline, and you're more susceptible to things like dementia, stroke,
Wow.
heart diseases. So I think there's a fine line between taking a break and isolation. And if you want to improve as a person, isolation, I don't think is the route that you're looking for.
Mm.
I feel like it's just taking a break. Yeah.
Okay, so she didn't correct my terminology. So I don't isolate myself. I take a break from y'all. Okay,
Okay.
coffee. Okay, coffee. I would say it's definitely a fine line between the two. When I think of isolation, though, like how I think of it is like definitely in terms of me just taking a break from the world. Like me, turn off my phone. I don't want to talk to anybody right now because I need to really lock in on the grind. Like, and that's whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's music. Like, sometimes I just know myself. Like, I give so much that I do have to sit back and isolate myself. I do have to take myself out of people's lives, and I do have to just take a step back because I'm so giving. I will give every ounce of me. Like, and she tell me all the time, like, girl, you gotta chill. But I will give every ounce of me to the next person and then just be sitting there waiting for somebody to fill my cup up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta wait till Sunday, go to church to get my cup refilled. You know what I'm saying? So we could use a different. I'm gonna use the terminology of just taking a break instead because I definitely do need like long breaks though. That's why I say isolation because sometimes I need long breaks.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Long breaks. But I definitely think growth can come from taking a break. Isolation, if we're putting the word, using it for what it is, like isolating yourself, like putting yourself in a box, that it doesn't sound like growth because, you know, you leave a plant in a room with no windows and nobody to look at or nothing, it's gonna die. So, you know, you gotta definitely leave a window open, at least one window. Keep the sun coming in. So like one person in your life or whatever the case may be to grow. But yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, man. It kind of feels like, I'm glad you mentioned like the whole, isolation isn't really healthy for you, because now that I think about it, maybe I am just taking a break from people,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Say
and
something.
I'm curious on what's the line between isolating yourself and taking a break from someone, because a lot of times you feel like you're in isolation when you just decide to, do everything by yourself, go to the store by yourself, go to the movies by yourself, go out to eat by yourself, stuff like that. It kind of feels like you're isolating yourself away from not necessarily the outside world, but your circle and the people you mainly talk to. So what do you guys feel like, what's that thin line between isolation and taking a break?
I feel like you'll know when it's just taking a break when you feel relieved or like you feel less stressed.
Okay.
You'll start to realize this isolation when instead you feel depressed or you just feel tired. There's just the way that you feel, that's how you'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I definitely agree, and piggybacking off that, like you'll feel depressed when you're in isolation because your body is craving. It's craving what you didn't stripped from it. It's so used to dealing with other energies and stuff like that. And sometimes dealing with too many energies is too much. But we have to deal with those energies to get through the passing and the flow in life. So definitely you're gonna see it within yourself, mental health wise, maybe even physically, like maybe losing weight or you may be gaining weight, like little things like that. Yeah.
Okay. So we've all taken breaks from people. So after you taking your break from someone or a group of people, how did you feel when you first reconnected with them?
I felt definitely more comfortable with myself and
Mm-hmm.
more, I guess, more like me because I feel like with people in general, because I'm not really a people person.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt like I had to meet up to a certain standard or act a certain way. But taking a break made me realize, okay, I can just be myself. I can get myself together, and I won't stay away for too long. But I know eventually that I do need some form of social interaction.
Yeah.
But I would like to do that when I'm most comfortable with myself.
Yeah. I would say. Wait, can you restate the question? I'm sorry.
I was asking, so after you take a break from someone, how did you feel when you first reconnected with them?
I'm not gonna lie. When I like take breaks from people and then I come back into certain environments, it really depends on the person. Sometimes me coming back into that environment, I would either just step away again because it's like, okay, now I see why I needed to take a break,
Mm-hmm.
or I would want to build off more and invest the energy into the person to get them to see what I see. And not in a sense of like forcing it off onto people, but like I feel like when I take my little breaks from people and I step away, I always come back with something to offer. Like whether it's a piece of knowledge or it's time spent or anything. Like I always come back with, oh, you wanna, go out, let's talk, let's go read a book. Or I found a little book while I was gone. You wanna read it with me? Or, stuff like that. And yeah, it really just depends on the person because I think taking a break from people, you start picking apart yourself and working on yourself, and then you come back into that environment, you'll either learn why you walked away, or like I said, you'll learn if you need to develop the relationship more.
Okay. Okay. I would say personally for me, after isolating from certain people and then coming back in, it kind of felt like it's just, like a regular day. It didn't have too much effect on me because I know me taking a break from people is kind of what I needed for that time.
Mm,
And regardless if they may understand that or not, I know it's something that was needed for me.
yeah.
It was needed for my personal growth, for my evolution as a person. So I can't evolve if I'm around someone 24/7 for some odd reason. Maybe that's just me, but I just can't like evolve as a person. So I need to sit down by myself and have, just have thoughts that like, okay, how do I get here? How do I do this? How do I approach certain situations in the future? And do I need to recall certain situations that happened in the past and talk about it or whatever it may be? Just gaining mental clarity is more so what I'm thinking when I'm reconnecting with people after a certain break of isolation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how do y'all feel like isolating or taking a break from someone, is it more so to protect your peace? Is it something outside of growth? Because yeah, we would like to say, we're growing when we're isolating ourselves, but is it more so to protect your peace and happiness?
I would, it really depends on the person, but I feel like in most instances, that's where it starts off as. I mean, the basis of taking a break is either because of a situation, a circumstance, or just somebody in your life that you feel like you need just a pause from.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay.
I agree. It definitely depends on the person and the situation that you're in with them. But for me personally, like I sometimes I just take breaks because I need a break. Like, and it's not even a person's fault. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's just me. Like sometimes I could see myself in a situation on my own outside of them, and it's more so to protect them from me because
Mm-hmm.
I know how I am when I'm not my best me.
Yeah.
Like I could bring you that trauma, or I could bring you that baggage, or I can be sad all the time. Like when I get into uh, for shorter words, when I get into like my own funk, I just need to step away. But in for other instances with other people, sometimes it is to protect my peace. Like I notice things that either I've experienced before with other people growing up, or from what I've heard or learned about, or just of how people present themselves, sometimes you just have to step away because it could not only get in the way of your process of growing, or it could just steer you down the wrong road. You know, some people just don't come with not only maturity but common sense, and that could send you into isolation because you didn't like avoid them or take a break from them earlier on. And that's good for you to express that too. Don't just like, abandon them. Express that part because it's not like a bad leave off. You can just let them know like, I just need my space. But yeah, you can, take the wrong route, just dealing with the wrong people. And I think I've learned from that so much that when I see that is coming, I just be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think? What do you think?
It's kind of a tough thing sometimes. Just the word isolation is one. It just feels like a powerful word, So I don't know, man. It's hard to break away from certain people sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard to break away from certain people, especially your loved ones, obviously your friends, family, whatever. It's just hard to break away from it. And when you do, sometimes I'm like, dang, I do want to talk to this person, but I need it for myself. I need it for my peace. I need it for my happiness. And if I continue talking to them or I continue being around them when I know I need a break, I'll probably get overstimulated. I might, my social battery may drain out even faster than it usually does. So I'm definitely all for allowing yourself to take a break and recharge yourself and allowing yourself to feel whatever emotions you need to feel and then coming back in the fold of the group or just one person, wherever it may be, whoever you're isolating from. And, just, you don't really got to explain to them, but, just more so let them know that, hey, I just need that for me personally.
Yeah. And you should know, based off of their response, you should know whether you should come back from that break and how you should come back from that break and what to expect. Because I got a friend from high school. It's probably my only friend from high school outside of you. Yeah. That's like my only friend in high school that's from high school that I literally don't talk to this man. Me and Justin, remember Justin?
Yeah.
Me and Justin Cobbins do not talk. However, when we do start back talking, it's a list full of things to talk about. And I think I like that more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that type of person. I will probably not talk to you all day. But when it reached like midnight, oh my God, let me tell you about my whole day. Like, that's the type of girlfriend I am. That's the type of friend I am. That's the type of sister I am. Like, you will not hear from me 9 times out of 10 because I work and then I go to school, then I do music. But when I come home, I'm gonna talk your ear off and you tell me about your day too, because then I feel like we have so much more to give when we're not just down each other's back.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I like that. Like I'm learning, like as I'm growing, I don't like that. I don't like people always, what you doing? Where you going? Like I just prefer to be, just chill. Chill. Vibe twin, just vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, before we get, I kind of want to touch on that. Yeah, I definitely feel like just sometimes like being up under each other, you need a little break.
Yes.
You need a second. It don't even gotta be a significant other. It could be a best friend. Because usually best friends do everything together, go to Walmart together,
breathe, eat, sleep together.
Yeah, like literally, like it'd be best friends to be like, man, I'm finna go to the bathroom. Like just like it's at the mall, be like, I'm finna go to the bathroom. Like, come here with me. Yeah. Like it sounds crazy, but it's just something we do. Like as humans, like we're really attracted to each other, and we just constantly want to be around each other. And it's like it's a sense of familiarity, and it just it's just something that you gotta kind of monitor though. It can't be too much, because too much you're like, all right, now I need a break.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, and you don't want to overstimulate yourself with somebody. And then I feel like when you're around people for so long, you start to nitpick. Even if you don't notice it, like over time, you start to be like, gee, why do they keep on doing this?
Yeah.
And then it comes like a problem that come into play. But, like, yes, space. Like, that's what I think of when I think of isolation, just space. Like, I don't know, I like space. I like to be in space. Like, I just like to be aware of self, and yeah, that should be fine. Like, people should be comfortable with that. People should be okay with that.
For sure.
But when they see you start doing it too much, then that's when they should call it to action. But
Yeah.
I feel like with that too, we need to be more comfortable or just more like open to checking on people, even if they say they're taking a break. We definitely do need to check on people because the like I just there's some people that the perpetuation of the stereotype that people will assume that you're an introvert or that they're taking a break, but you really need to just check in with that person. You don't have to be in their face or anything, but just checking in on them, making sure they're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. So before we wrap up the episode, is there anything you guys would want to say to someone who's unsure on if isolation is the best course of action for them, or taking a break from somebody is the best course of action for them, and how it could benefit them?
I would say know your limits as a person and have your goal set. So what do you want to do? What is the end goal of this? Or what is the reason you're doing this? And if you feel like you're too far away from people or you're isolating yourself, try to just get out there or find something to do, interact with others so you can give yourself a sense of purpose and feel like, okay, well, I can go out and do this and stuff like that. But definitely assess yourself as a person.
Yes.
And have a proper support system and surround yourself with healthy people. I mean, that's how people are. We're a very social species. So.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with that. I would just say during the process you are isolating yourself, if that's what you feel you need to do, if that's what you feel best, one, follow your first mind and then start understanding why you feel like you need that isolation. So yeah, pinpoint why and what's your end goal and what's your reasonings. And then just love on yourself as hard as possible while you're away from everybody. Like, I feel like when you're isolated, that should be the time where you're just drowning yourself in self-love. Because since you've cut off these people in your life, somebody needs to give it to you. And who better to do it than yourself, you know? So build that ego, build that confidence, build something to stimulate you, to keep you going and to bring you back out of the isolation. So then when you do come back, you're a better person. Like, you know, I feel like that's how you grow. That's how you properly grow during isolation or taking a break, or, you know, that's how you really grow when you take time away and you're actually building yourself and you're really loving on yourself and you're caring for yourself. And y'all know I'm a big advocate for that. So just love on yourself during the time that you're doing it, and also know your limits and know your boundaries and set them for yourself, because you don't want it to consume you. People are easily consumed by a lot of things. We are susceptible to fall into a lot of different, we call them traps right now, different traps of life, you know, and being isolated is one. Like, I feel like it makes you insane sometimes, and it makes you crazy. Like, I won't lie, being isolated can make you go crazy, because I'm not gonna lie, like, I be talking to myself, y'all. I be talking to myself, and I think it's because I'm such an isolated person, like, and I like to be alone so much that it's like I just talk to myself, like, I don't even care. But that's kind of crazy. Like, if you're doing it all the time, it's crazy. You know, it should be a little casual thing, not too much. But yeah, that's what I would say to the people. How would you like to close it off?
I would say that whatever promotes your happiness, whatever promotes your growth, I would say do it. Isolation is something that, it sounds harsh, but at the same time, if you need to step away from somebody, do it, you know? And maybe you'll realize later on that that's a permanent, you know, separation that you need.
Yeah.
But even if it's not, just take the time and take care of yourself, and then the rest of your life can get back in order. You know, don't allow, you know, too many different people to crowd you in those moments, and really take those time to yourself to really care for yourself and love yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we want to thank y'all for coming back on Therapeutic Talks. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we're going to see y'all next week. Got it right out of the mud again. Not another visit to the pen, 'cause I wasn't taking on my